So welcome everyone, good afternoon, and welcome to our new edition of Let's Talk About Mental Health. It's really exciting to see you all joining. Before we really start, I would just ask you to mute yourself so that there's no background noise and so that you can hear us correctly. You will see that I'm shifting a little bit because I'm letting people in at the same time. So a warm welcome to all of you for our talk on mental health. Today is kind of special because today I won't be alone talking about mental health and etc. etc. Today I have a very special guest, Dr. Ismael Essackjee, who will be joining me to present about the different aspects of fear of failure, productivity, etc. So without further ado, I'll pass on to Dr. Ismael, who will talk a few words about maybe to introduce, maybe to welcome us.
Okay, so thank you, Nabiilah. Thank you all of you for joining in. It's really a great pleasure to have you on a Thursday night, we can say, and to listen about maybe mental health and how maybe our tips, our advice can help you in your daily life and at work, at home, and so on. Allow me to start sharing my presentation. You should be seeing it at this point in time. Okay, let me just put that on presentation.
Ismael, before we kind of start, I'd just like to do maybe two framings because that's a digital platform. If ever there is a crack, etc., you can always let me know if you have my WhatsApp detail, my phone detail, or email. You can send your questions on the chat box if you have any. And also in terms of the video, it's being recorded. So if you want to keep your camera off, please do so. Okay, guys, so thank you, Ismael. You can kickstart your presentation.
Thank you, Nabiilah. And so before we start, I think we need to have like a disclaimer because whatever is going to be said today can be life-changing for you. Yes, it can be life-changing. That's why we have introduced, I have thought it as good to put a cool word of caution. So attending this webinar will give you a completely different perspective of failure as compared to the common man. So before entering this webinar, and after you maybe exit this webinar, you are most likely going to be a different person. Maybe if you have a scale from 0 to 10, maybe from a 0 to 1, maybe from 1 to 5, or we don't know. So it's going to change your life, but you take it as you want. It's going to hit you at different maybe places, at different areas, from different angles, because we are all different. We have different experiences. We are living different lives. And I just hope that is going to be helpful. At least if you can gather, if you can use one of the tips which we are sharing, and that's going to be great for you. So if you are joining in, please mute yourself up so that we don't have some feed forward or feedback action, which is going to be not so great for the other participants. So it may also happen that you start embracing failures. Oh, that's true, yes. So you will start be loving failures, you will like failures, you are looking forward to having failures in your life. So again, thank you, Coach Nabiilah, for having me in this webinar. So I'm going to have some 25 to 30 minutes to just share my experiences about failure and how you can go over failure, use it as as we say in French, tremplin, stepping stone towards bettering your productivity. So I'm Dr. Ismael, you can call Ismael and so on. So just to let you know that I'm not like a medical doctor or from the medical field. I'm mostly like an engineer. My PhD is in terms of renewable energy, but I'm a fan of what we call personal. Please mute yourself. Okay, you will have time to ask questions, to intervene at one point in time. So I'm just telling you that I'm a fan of personal development. Okay, it is a way for me to express myself. It's a way for me to go to the next level. And my role, my aim as a coach is to make you a better person than you were yesterday. That's it. Okay, you have my contact details, but we can share that with you later on as well. Okay, so tonight, we're going to talk about Essackjee. Why Essackjee? Because actually it's fear of failure, but I'm having a hard time to really pronounce this term. It's phobia. I don't know how, but let's call that for us phobia. Okay, because most of us, it's good to have lychee in our biryani, in our meals, in our food, but when you have it under your teeth, it's something different. Okay, I'm having a hard time to really pronounce this one, so let's call that phobia. Okay, fear of failure. So I'm going next, a couple of slides, or maybe 10 more slides which you're going to follow. I'm going to share with you some stories of people who have met with failures. Oh, so sad for them. They have maybe have seen failures once, more than once, 100 times, more than 100 times. And it's going to be very sad stories. I can assure you that these are going to be very sad stories for you. Okay, let's hear about Einstein. So this is the guy on the right. Okay, the guy to the left, maybe you should be knowing him by now. So he could not speak until he was 4 years old. Oh, poor Einstein. He did not read until he was 7 years old. He was expelled from school. When he wanted to do a PhD, he wanted to do research, this was rejected. And the rest is history. So you will need to participate with me, because all the following slides, you are going to have this common line at the bottom, and the rest is history. So you should be repeating that as well on your side. I'm hearing you, I'm seeing you, don't worry about that. Technology nowadays, everything is possible. Okay, let's see about Bill Gates. Oh, again, poor guy, he met with failure. He failed and was expelled from Harvard University. His first business, Taf-O Data, was a failure. Now with me, and the rest is history. Definitely. Actually, he's a founder of Microsoft. Let's hear about Honda, Mr. Honda. He was turned down when he applied for the job of engineer at Toyota Motors Corporation. So during the interview, they turned him down. He started making scooters in his own home, in his home garage. And as you know, the rest is history. Poor guy, he met with failure. And this one, oh my God, I'm so sad for him. Walt Disney. Walt was fired by a newspaper editor because he lacked imagination and had no good ideas. Hard one to take, isn't it? Walt was then turned down 302 times before he got finance for Disneyland. So he had a project in mind, building Disneyland. 302 times he was turned down. His project was turned down for finance. He went bankrupt several times before building Disneyland. And as you all know, the rest is history. So sad for him. Now this lady, G.F. Rowling, his book, his first publication, Harry Potter book, was rejected by 12 publishers. Yes, not 1, 2, 3, 4, 12 publishers. And you know the end, and the rest is history. Colonel Sanders. Oh my God, maybe you should be knowing him. His chicken recipe was rejected by more than, listen well, 1,000 restaurants. His recipe, what we call chicken licking good, okay, that most of you like, okay. This recipe, it is still, as we say, secret. It was rejected by more than 1,000 restaurants. Age 65, you must get pension, okay. He started KFC. And as you know, the rest is history. Maybe doing good business until King Burger came around, isn't it? Okay, this is Thomas Edison, the man who invented the light bulb and so many other like scientific inventions. Teachers told him he was too stupid to learn anything. Stupid guy, isn't it? And he, before discovering the light bulb, before coming up with the final solution, the successful one, he failed over 10,000 times. Okay, this is what he said. I have not failed. So this is his mindset. I have just found 10,000 ways that it won't work. As you know, the rest is history. Failure for all these guys. So sad, isn't it? Abraham Lincoln, Age 22, he lost his job. Before age 22, he had so many problems with his mother and so on, but we won't get into that. Let's start us from age 22. 23, defeated for state legislature. 24, failed in business. 27, nervous breakdown. 34, ran for Congress and was defeated. Poor guy. 39, defeated again. 46, ran for Senate and again was defeated. 47, defeated for nomination for vice president. So many failures down the, maybe down the way, okay, as his age is going up. 50, defeated again for Senate. Most of us would have, okay, let's forget about this. Let's look for another business. 51 age, he became the 16th US president. And the rest is history. James Dyson. So you may be saying, oh, these are from history and so on. But let's have a look at this guy, Dyson. He came around maybe a few years back, 10 to 15 years back, with a new technology about vacuuming instead of using the bags, so bagless technology, and it is very efficient. Okay, he went through 5,126 failed prototypes before coming up with a successful one. Over 5,000 failures. And the rest is history. Now you will say, okay, but these are maybe the guys from the West, from America. We have the American dream over there. But let's come to our Amitabh Bachchan, isn't it? Let's hear about him. He was rejected in his first audition as he was considered too tall and not so good looking enough to be a star. Isn't it? Amitabh Bachchan, then he became a superstar. Then he started to founded his first maybe corporation, which is Amitabh Bachchan Corporation Limited, ABCL, and was downfall for him. Only downfall. All the films that was being issued, maybe all the movies were failures at the box office, and he was bankrupt. Ultimately, but this was not the end for him. He pursued, and it was the arrival of KBC, Kaun Banega Crorepati series in India. And from then on, the rest is history. Our older guy, Shah Rukh Khan. SRK was a middle-class Delhi boy. He lived in a rented apartment with his family. He came to Mumbai to fulfill his dreams with only 1,500 Indian rupees in his pocket, nearly around 750 Mauritian rupees in his pocket. He was not liked by many in the film industry because of his dark look, okay, his complexion. He borrowed 20 Indian rupees every day from friends to travel to Film City. He started in small roles in some serials and so on. And as you know by now, the rest is history. Now, these are the guys who failed so much, isn't it? And ultimately, when we say the rest is history, so they ultimately were successful person. This is me now, okay? What I'm seeing is what I'm like experiencing every day. I failed driving test for the first time. I got 38 marks in mathematics. Oh my God, this is the end of the world for me. Bachpan ka pyar, I was rejected by one girl, maybe in pre-primary school, école maternelle. Okay, Bachpan ka pyar, and this is the end of the world for me. Let me just check this one out. Did not fare well at the interview. So I went for the first interview after completing school, after completing college, completing university. I did not get maybe pass mark at the interview and was not retained at the interview. This is for me the end of the world, failure. Oh my God, I can't take it anymore. I'm running a business. I'm having poor sales due to COVID and so on. Oh my God, gouvernement pas bon. We can't do anything about it. And do you think it's going to be the rest is history? No, then the rest is now confetti. Okay, so how about it? Let's have a look at this mindset of these people. From time immemorial, coming down, and we had our Shah Rukh Khan, our Dyson man, recent ones. So I'm just sharing a few who are quite famous. And they did not stop at the first hurdle. They did not stop at the first failure. They wanted to go for their dreams. Then they went down in history as successful people. So us, not for us, but I take it on me, The first time maybe I failed my driving license. Oh my God, it is a failure. Everyone in the family is knowing about it. Oh, he's maybe a failure. No, we can change that. It's our mindset to go from like maybe fearing the idea to fail, having a bad impression of failure, to loving failure, because failure, it's part of success. Let's see how. So let's have a look at the law of pain now. Good management of bad experiences lead to great growth. How? Let's say you have a pencil. It breaks into two. Oh my God, I love this pencil. It was gifted by me by Bashpan Kapyar, isn't it? Okay. So then if we look at it on maybe another way, another perspective, from another angle, we can have not two pencils, but three tips from which we can write. So it's about how we manage these bad experiences. You will tell me, but there are some people who have very good experiences every day. But let's see. Life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. 10% what happens to you, it happens to everyone. But most importantly, it's how you react to that. If your pencil is broken into two, do you just throw it away? Is it the end of life for you? Or do you try to find a way around it? See how this can help you. This can maybe help you, as we have seen the example, help you have much more of what you had initially. So important for you is to take it, think about it, know how to react to that. Sometimes we win, sometimes we learn. Not from me, but from John Maxwell. Who is John Maxwell? He's one of my mentors. I've certified from his courses. John Maxwell is a #1 leadership expert in the world. So he says, sometimes we win. We can't win every time. Even Manchester United, the team can't win every time. There are times when they're going to meet with failure. But then when they meet with the first failure, do they stop? Okay, we are like maybe retreating from this Premier League. We won't play any more matches in the Premier League because we have lost. No, even though it is a problem with VAR, it is a problem with we don't know what. It's about learning from our mistake. Sometimes we win, sometimes we learn. Let's hear from Nelson Mandela, famous personality from South Africa. I never lose. So his mindset is there's no way 100% he's going to lose. He either wins or he learns. Practically the same, but a different perspective of looking at it. I never lose. So he's never going to lose. His mentality is a winning mentality. I either win or by learning, I'm also winning because I'm learning from the process. And this is our friend. Failing does not mean you are a failure. Failing is just an action. It's just a result. This doesn't mean that you're always going to be like failures and that, okay, you can fail. It is an action, but you can learn from that and move forward. So failing does not mean that you, as a person, you are a failure. Failing is an action which did not go according to plan. This doesn't mean that you, as a person, you are a failure. It's two different things which we need to separate, segregate, put them away. Struggling, even struggling, if you're having a hard time, it's COVID situation, we're having a hard time to survive, to meet our two ends, to make the two ends meet. Struggling does not mean failing. We are still at it. We can still get out of it. So struggling does not mean failing. Now, how big is your why? What is your why? Why? So what your why is, what is your reason for doing maybe one thing? Let's say we're taking about the example that I went for my car license test and I failed. Maybe if I didn't need it that much. Okay, maybe I'll say, okay, maybe next year, in 2 years' time, I'm going to come back at it. Maybe when I'm going to forget about this failure, isn't it? But if you need it for a job, if you have already received the appointment letter with the condition that you can join the workforce, only and only if you have a valid driving license. So then your why is big because you want to get married, Bashpan Kapyar, you want to get married, isn't it? And for that, you will need to have a job. And for you to get the job, you need to get this driving license. So your why is very strong, very big. isn't it? So if you really want to do something, you will find a way. If you want to do it, you will find a way. Else, you will just find excuses. This is from Jim Rohn, one of my mentors as well. So if you want to do it, your why is huge, you really want to do it, you're going to find a way, believe me. Else, you are just going to find excuse number one, excuse number two, excuse number three. So our philosophy that we are going to ingrain into you tonight is going to be, some call it failure. The common man, as we started from the first slide, the common man is going to call it failure. But for us, it's going to be different. We are going to call it preparation. Preparation, the first nail didn't get well. Second one, third, fourth, fifth one, still, let's call that failure. But no, it was not failure as such. It was helping us to prepare such that the sixth one is a right one. We are going to succeed at the sixth one, isn't it? So you see the example of the nail. So whatever, wherever you are, whatever you have in mind, whatever is your why, if you have failed, you are maybe uncertain about where you are going. Do you need to focus again, to do it again, have a try again? Why not? Some will say, why? You are going to say, why not have a go at it again? And this time I'm going to do better. Not only succeed, but maybe if I fail, but I'm going to fail better. Okay, now a small example. Let's have a look at this young, I think it's a girl. Let's call that a girl. Let's call, I don't know, maybe let's call that Nabiilah. Okay, Nabiilah is a young girl, baby. She's trying to walk. Okay, so her mother is encouraging her, come, try to walk on your own. But on the first time she's trying to walk, she just fell down. She just fell. What will her mother say? Oh, Nabiilah, please don't try it again. Don't try it because you can get hurt. Don't try it, Nabiilah. You can get hurt. You can maybe hit the sofa. Your head may get injured. Is it what mothers usually say? Never. They are going to say, okay, swipe these tears. Try again. Try again. Try again until you succeed. Try until you succeed, because it's so important for you to know how to walk. Then you are going to know how to run. So the idea here is failure is not the opposite of success. When you're in school, they will say the opposite of failure is success. The opposite of success is failure, isn't it? But for us, no. We are in personal development. Failure is part of success. It is a stepping stone to help us reach success in our life. So this is, I don't know how they call this game that we have in our playgrounds and so on, but this is a very important, we have it since maybe, I love it since I was a child. This is my second son, Isa. So what is he? If he wants to move forward, what does he needs to do? He's holding these balls with two hands. He will need at one point in time to release one hand and put that forward. He can't, if he's going to remain like that for some minutes, his hands are going to get tired. But for him to move forward in life or in his game, he will need at one point in time to release one security. That is, he was holding both with both hands. He will have to release one and then grab the next one. He will need to make the intention of moving forward. Because if he stays maybe safe on maybe holding two hands, at one point in time, he's going to get tired. But if you're moving, you're getting the momentum, it's going to move you forward. So this is maybe the idea from this slide. Move forward, but then release the negative, not the negative, but things which are holding you back. What are these things? Criticize. Don't criticize. Stop criticizing. You're wasting your energy while criticizing other people. Don't hold grudge against people. Forget about it. Move to the next page. Move to the next book. Move to the next point in your life. Backbiting, stop it. Negative, this is what we call negative energy around you. Hope that others are going to fail. Again, negative energy. Focus on your work. We are going to see on the next slide what you need to do. You're going to help others, contribute to others' success. Take credit for all your victories. So this is, don't take credit for all your victories. Okay, because when you have victories, you can't, there's no self-made man. There's no such idea of maybe self-made man. You always need support from different people. I'm maybe, if you can say, successful, I'm successful at what I'm trying to do because of my wife, my kids, my in-laws, my parents, and so on, my friends, my colleagues at work. All these people are contributing. So whenever you're meeting with success, share it, give credit to all these people. So what is a mindset that we want you to be in? Sense of gratitude. Be grateful every day. When we wake up in the morning, be grateful that we have been able to wake up. There are some people who go to sleep and they don't wake up. We are able to breathe, we are able to go to work. We have a work. Even though maybe with COVID things are not as before, but we have a work, we have a source of income. Embrace change. If we don't do that, things are going to be difficult because change is the only constant. So you need to embrace it. Whenever it comes, think about it and move forward. Contribute to others' success. As we said, don't only focus on your work. Don't wait, don't hope for others to fail, but contribute to others' success. Forgive others. Same as sense of gratitude, forgive others. Assume responsibility for your failures. If you have failed, assume responsibility. Don't say, no, moi ça, Lisa. Assume responsibilities for your failures. Share credit in victory. Whenever you are successful, share it with all those who have contributed directly or indirectly to your success. And when it comes to success, sorry to tell you guys, there's no elevator to success. There's no simple step. You need to take the stairs, and it's going to take time. There's no elevator to success. And you will say, okay, but I'm not maybe I'm not a champion, I'm a bit timid and so on. I'm a timid guy, if you don't believe me. Okay, I'm a timid guy. But let me tell you, you were born a champion. Did you know that? Did they tell you? Just check on your birth certificate. It said, born a champion. Later on, you check it. You were born a champion. Why? Because you won the race, the first race of your life, with over 200 million contestants. So if you're here, if you're listening, you were born a champion. And the first race of your life, you won it with over 200 million contestants. Okay, think about it. You were born a champion. Small story now, quickly. There's a donkey, the wife and the man and so on. So the idea here is whatever people are going to tell you, maybe what we call the opinions of others, you will need to know how to handle it, because whatever you do, people are not going to be happy with that. They are going to criticize. So here, these two are not maybe riding the donkey, people are going to laugh. If both are going to ride the donkey, they will say, okay, this is wrong for the animal. If the wife only rides a donkey, will say that, okay, but the wife is not okay because the boss, the man of the house should be riding the donkey, isn't it? If it is a contrary, they will say the man is not kind to his wife. Now, if both of them carry the donkey, here as well, they won't see it as positive. So whatever combination and permutation you're going to do, people are going to criticize. So what do we do with the opinions of others? Let's hear what Eleanor Roosevelt says. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. So if someone is making you feel inferior, maybe due to your failure or think that you're doing wrong, mistakes, it is with your permission, because you're giving permission for these people to make you feel, they can say whatever they want, to make you feel inferior is with your consent. Let's see what Les Brown says. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. It is their opinion. It does not have necessarily to become your reality. Idea, bottom line is filter them out. So the opinion of others, when they are sharing their opinion, filter them out. Take the positive, deal it as constructive feedback, and then flush the rest. You know what is flush, isn't it? Flush it out. But you need to take the positive out of it. Earphone, we don't listen to whatever they're saying. No, we need to do that. We need to filter it, know what is constructive out of it. And then we flush the rest to the pit. Why? Because if else, maybe someone has already done so, and they're warning you. But Mr. Coach Ismael said, no, don't listen to everyone. Okay, the opinion of others should not become my reality. No, There are mistakes which you need to be aware. There are preventable failures. There are also unavoidable failures, which is beyond your control. And there are intelligent failures. So failures that you're doing, you're trying your best. These are what are called intelligent failures. This is what we have been discussing about. Failing so that we can do it better next time. Unavoidable failures it's beyond our control. It's maybe God, what we call force majeure and so on. But then there are preventable failures. If we listen, we get the positive, what we call the constructive feedback from the opinions of others, we can prevent. This is what you call preventive failure. So it's not only to forget about it or don't listen, but listen, capture the important points. Then you'll use that constructively for you. Now, important here, even for CEOs, they don't understand what is the difference between a wrong decision and a bad decision. There is a huge difference between what is a wrong decision and a bad decision. So the distinction is important since it separates outcomes which you can't fully control. So there are some things which you can't control. At that point in time, when you took the decision was made, you didn't have the full set of criteria. Par exemple, in French or Creole, après la mole artisane. It's true, because now that we have got all the data in, we know exactly what are the different outcomes. But when the decision was being taken, we don't have all those information. So this is why we say there's a difference between a wrong and a bad decision. Now, there are some decisions that someone is going to tell you, don't touch this iron because it's hot. You don't listen that you touch. So this is a bad decision, isn't it? This is a bad decision. Okay. So now in terms as parents, as maybe adults, how do we need to instill that in our kids? We need to destigmatize mistakes. Okay. Not that, okay, someone has come maybe with not so good marks, and we try to say, don't compare, don't contrast with others. Destigmatize mistakes. Try to use it as a stepping stone, because what we have been saying is for adults, but now it's our role to instill that in the young generation. There are opportunities to learn. Mistakes are opportunities to learn. As our friend says, "Galti se mistake." Mistakes are not a problem. Mistakes are not a problem, but not taking the opportunity to learn from it is. Mistake is not the problem, but if you don't learn from the mistake, this is a problem. Now, it feels better to miss the ball by diving than by standing still. The goalkeeper would have maybe the probability of the ball getting into the net is maybe 90%. So he could just maybe stand still. But it feels good. At least he tried. He tried his best, isn't it? How are people going to perceive that? He just maybe stand still and so on. It's better for him to give his best, dive, and if he's able to get the ball, that's good. Else, just too bad. Now, again, example, it is far better to do something imperfectly. It is far better to try or to do something imperfectly, not perfect, than to do nothing perfectly. So you stand still, you don't do anything, but you do that perfectly. You're sitting on a beautiful armchair, you cross your arms, you do nothing perfectly. Instead, it's better for you to try to do it, but even though it's not perfect, at least you have tried something. So the only true failure is doing nothing. Inaction puts everything at risk. The idea here is learn to fail. It's so important. Maybe bottom line, what you need to take away from this presentation, learn to fail. If not, you're failing to learn. Learn to fail, else you're failing to learn. Again, if you want success, I want massive success. Every day I want success. What is the advice from Mr. Thompson? If you want to increase your success rate, double your failure rate. So easy. If you want to increase your success rate, double your failure rate. Why is Cristiano Ronaldo the best maybe scorer in different tournaments that he's playing? Because he scores much more goals. Not only that, see how many attempts he makes at the goal. Maybe most of them are off target, or maybe handled by the goalkeeper. The ball is caught by the goalkeeper, but then he tries a lot. That's why he double his failure rate, and that's why he's so successful. Just try and match, see how many shots he take at the goal, or maybe even off target, and then you see how he's able to be so successful as a goal scorer. Building your self-esteem, maybe last part of our presentation. Always remember that no one is perfect. No one is perfect. Anyone here would say the contrary? No one is perfect. We can control only what is within our control. Whether it's going to rain, whether it's not going to rain, is beyond our control. So we focus on only things that we can control. We prepare for the unknown, but then we have control. We get maybe stress. We focus on what we have within our possibilities of controlling. Each of us is unique. You are unique. You were born a champion, true, but you are unique and you have specific talents and abilities. Remember Colonel, remember Dyson, all these people that we have seen at the beginning, they are unique and they know that they have a uniqueness. Maybe at times they have not been able to pinpoint it, but it's going to come. KFC, he came at 65. Colonel Sanders at 65, he ultimately said, okay, but I need to start my business, which is KFC. Finger licking good. So, and then don't compare. If you're having kids and so on, don't compare. Each child, each individual, that's why we call that individual. We are different, we are unique. Accept yourself as you are and come to terms with those aspects of yourself that you can't change. You just, okay, so this was maybe the first part, a huge first part of the presentation. Anyone here likes to eat cheese? Maybe if I give you a huge chunk of cheese, a Sunny South or Kraft, you just need to remove the aluminum wrapping and you start eating. Will that be good? You may be liking cheese, but you won't eat it that way, isn't it? You would maybe slice it into smaller parts. That's a technique which we call the Swiss cheese technique. So why I am sharing that with you? Let's say you have a very big project, huge project. And you say, when looking at it, you say, but I'm going to meet with failure with this one. It's too big for me. I can't eat this big chunk of cheese. So what are you doing? You're just slicing it into smaller pieces. That's what you need to do with your big project. Slice it into smaller parts. Now you eat one part, digest it, enjoy it, then move to the next. Again, for your project, try to break it into smaller, more manageable parts. From then, you attempt the first part, do it, succeed, because it's going to be small, manageable, you succeed at it, you reward yourself. Un petit Kit Kat par là, un petit je sais pas quoi, un petit gâteau friandises and so on. Okay, some sweets, baklava, ça qui est là, mais c'est ça. Okay, so reward yourself, then move to the next. This is going to create a synergy. This is going to create a momentum for you to move forward. If you want to read a book, maybe 200 pages, the same, par exemple, papa and live low. How do you read that? You say, okay, but Monday I'm going to read 5 pages. Tuesday, 5 pages, but 5 pages per day. Maybe every 2 or 3 hours I'm going to read 1 page. So now these are manageable. You have control on that. And you will see that as you start, things are going to work for you. So this is what you need to do, the Swiss cheese technique. It is a management technique. It is a project management technique as well. Now I'm going to, if you allow me, maybe 2 more minutes, okay, for just to explain to you the wheel of life. Okay, if you want to have it, I can share that on a Microsoft Excel. Okay, we are going to see it. Just leave your email address in the chat box. I can share that with you. So what is the wheel of life? At times we try to do one thing, 2 things, because we need to manage our life. There are so many things around our life. So at times when we focus on one area only, it does us bad. It's what we call we are stressed. We are stressed. So because we're focusing on one side only, what can we do? How do we know? Are we balanced? Are we living a balanced life? So it's what we call the wheel of life. So you can have your career, your financial plan, spiritual, physical, exercise, intellectual, family life, social life. You can have as many as you want. Okay, so this is what we are going to give you. Okay, it's like a spider web. You are going to label all of these. You can have 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's say finance, career, and growth, and so on. You're going to label it that way. This is what you have on the Microsoft Excel sheet. Then you're going to rate yourself. I think it's 1 to 10, maybe from 0 to 1. You are going, let me just draw on that. Let's say for career and growth, you say, but I'm career oriented. I'm putting all my energy into career. I'm going to be like this. I'm going to be like a 9. That's very good. But while focusing too much on my career and growth, my health and fitness is going down. Maybe say 3, it's around here. Fun and recreation, not too good. Just some judgments going to get into film. Environment, not taking, maybe let's put that around here just for the sake of the example. Community, 0. I'm not helping the community at all. Family and friends, yes, at times, because mother is after us every week to go and say salam to all our friends. Partners and love, we don't have time for partners and love, it's around here. And growth and learning, let's put that quickly around here. Spirituality, 0. Maybe pas 0. Okay, let's put that around here. And then this one, let's put it. Now you have got your scale. How are these different components of your life? What is the rating? Now you complete it. You're going to draw it like that on these lines. Like this. I'm using my mouse, so this is going to be a bit difficult for me. But when you do it in Excel, it's going to be generated automatically for you. Let's have a look at your wheel of life. This is how it's going to look like. Let me just go to the next one. And oops, let me just clear it now. It's an example, how the wheel of life. Can you imagine your car or your bike or your bicycle or motorcycle running with a wheel like this in this form? How far will you go? Will you be able to run the car, the bike, and so on? Not so far away. So this is what we call an unbalanced life. This is going to trigger something in your mind. What are you focusing too much about? And what you need to give more time and energy and maybe funds too, maybe family. So this is going to help you become aware about what are the things that are not going smoothly and what are the things that you need to maybe tackle, handle, get back to, maybe try to manage, maybe with family, friends, and so on. So that your will ultimately is, you won't get it perfect, but at least it can take you from point A to point B, même clopin, okay? Cabossé, it should be able to take you from point A to point B. But right now, as it is, I don't see it leaving your garage. Okay, so I can share that with you. I think a few of you have already shared your email address. I will send it to you on Excel, on Microsoft Excel. You just need to write in all those maybe spirituality, community, physical, you write whatever you want, and then you put the rating. It's going to generate that for you. Now that you are aware, you need to take corrective action. In Excel, you can save it as different sheets, maybe every month, I do that every 6 months, or you can choose maybe 3 months. You know exactly, are you improving or not? This is going to help you have a work-life balance and much more than work-life, because you have so many of these important things for you to work on with. So that was it from me. Let me just check. Okay, summary of what we have. The act of failing is only preparation for a better outcome, only and only if we learn from it and persevere. The rest will be history, else confetti. This mindset has stood the test of time, as we have shown. We have demonstrated that to you. Next, break your goals, big goals, into smaller, more manageable portions. Reward yourself, baklava, on achieving these portions, then attack the next one, Last point for today, regularly check the status of your wheel of life to remain stable and to be able to go further. This said, that was it from me. I think I've taken slightly much more time, Nabiilah, sorry for that, but this was maybe the course of what I had to cover today. Thank you for giving me this time.
Thank you very much, Ismael. And don't say sorry. Actually, I'm really happy to hear your presentation. I know many people who are from my audience, they already know me talking, but it was refreshing to really hear your presentation, your Bachpan Ka Pyar, your entertaining presentation. Thank you very much for that. I've learned a lot, and from your presentation, it's not that when you are a coach you don't learn from other people. We are always learning from each other. We have one question from the chat box, which I'm going to take at the end so that I can also cover my part of my presentation. So I'll be sharing my my screen. Yeah. Sorry, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Wonderful. So if Ismael has been talking about the fear of failure, the examples have set the pace, etc., I'm going to talk about the root causes of fear of failure. So we know that it needs to be coming somewhere in our psyche. There is a root cause for it. So I'm going to talk about this, and because mental health is my passion, I'm going to talk about what is the consequence of fear of failure on your mental health. So my slide is not as much as Ismail's, but I'm sure that I'll be covering something that might interest you. And if you have questions, please feel free to put it in the chat box. We are also live on Facebook. So please, for those watching on Facebook, you can send your question on the live. We'll take your questions. So perfectionism is not as much the desire for excellence as it is the fear of failure couch is procrastination. So what is the root cause of failure? A lot of time, the root cause of failure is perfectionism, right? Why? Because we are on a race, right? We want to be perfect. We are comparing ourselves. We compare ourselves to a lot of people. A lot of time I have clients coming to me saying, you know, Nabiilah, I want to get this perfect. And my question to them is, what is perfect, right? When you tell me perfect, what is your definition of perfectionism? Where is it? Perfectionism is like this. In French, we say that l'horizon, we can't touch it. We can just see it. We can't touch it. This is perfectionism. We have an idea. This would be perfect. If you want to get there, you will never. The more you get close, the more the line goes beyond. So now, if you are kind of a perfectionist, you might also find out that sometimes you find it more easy, or you have tendency to procrastinate a lot. Why? Because you'll be waiting to be in the best state before starting your work. You will want your table to be perfectly set. You will want to start exactly at 9 a.m. You will want to have your perfect outfit with your perfect makeup to be able to do a presentation. And then when it's not perfect, you don't get started, and then you keep on procrastinating. Now, all of these things has a very root cause, is a very root cause of fear of failure. I'll be explaining how does perfectionism and fear of failure is actually linked. So next slide. Let's talk about perfectionism. So there is actually, oops, there are some typing error. I'm not a perfectionist, by the way, so I can come with some errors, and I'll be happy to say it was a typing error. So let's talk about perfectionism. There are three main types of perfectionist. The first one is other-oriented perfectionism. So what is other-oriented? Today, I'll take the example of Ismael. So I have Ismael who did a wonderful presentation, really mixing different language, different entertainment. And for me, that's perfect, right? And I try to compare myself with him. I try to compare myself with other people. And I don't realize that I have my own skills. I have my own maybe talent in my own way. I have my own personality. I have my own intellectual ability. I'm myself. So instead of believing in what I'm doing, I'm trying to put a benchmark of what? From what other people have been doing. So I see, for example, my colleague who has got maybe a promotion, and for me that's perfect. So I try to strive and work really hard to get to that promotion. But what I'm not getting here is that I actually have much more responsibility than my colleague. Maybe it was easier for him, but it's difficult for me because of other responsibilities. That's not an excuse, that's part of life. Just to explain to you that if we have two individuals, they are different from each other. As Ismael said, we are individual. That's why it's called individual. So one part is other-oriented perfectionism, which is a big no. Now, how does that relate to fear of failure? We have our friend. We are always comparing ourselves to our friend, to our mentor, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. So what happened? The moment we are fearful now, what if I don't succeed? You're putting a lot of pressure on you. You're putting a lot of demand, which are unrealistic. You are putting an unrealistic standard. So now the fear of failure increases. Now the anxiety increases. When in mental health, when I talk about fear, I talk about anxiety. Now the anxiety increases. You feel hard, you feel sweating, etc. Why? Because you have put an unrealistic standard by comparing yourself with others. Now it creates fear and anxiety. The second one is self-oriented perfectionism, is when you have put really unrealistic standard for yourself, not by looking at others. I'm like, Nabiilah, in the next 3 years, you need to have your PhD done, you need to have your build your house, you need to have a brand new car, you need to get your bachpan ka pyar, etc., etc. So that's putting a lot of pressure, and it's self-oriented perfectionism. Everyone's journey is different, right? You might not necessarily choose the traditional journey. Your journey can totally be different from others. You can actually choose to do this first and do this another thing last. That's your journey, right? And enjoy where you are, and don't strive to put that unrealistic standard. Just go with the flow and do what you have. It's not about the future. Yes, we have goals. Yes, we have visions, we have purpose, but it shouldn't be like blinkers. All that we see is our goal, our purpose, and we don't enjoy our present, because that's going to affect our mental well-being. So just give me a moment. Someone is joining in. So that's self-oriented perfectionism. The third one is socially prescribed perfectionism. And I really like the example that Ismael gave in the beginning, that ayugi voisin qui ne fait aussi fait pareil. Ayugi voisin qui salut là aussi fait pareil. And these things, you have to do the same thing. Socially prescribed perfectionism is causing a lot of disturbance in people's individual life, in the society in general. Today, when we see the society, all of the comments, all of the gossiping is about how can I be like this person. It's good to be modeling people, but it's not good to put pressure on yourself just to match your so-called perfect life, because you can perceive their life to be perfect, but their life is not perfect, trust me. So these are the 3 types of perfectionism, and what does it lead to? It leads to maladaptive thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. For people who have been in my session, in my talks, in my webinars, etc., they know that I always talk about... please mute yourself. I can't do this right now because I'm sharing my screen. Please. Alala. Just give me a moment. I'll try to mute this lady and then I'll start. Continue, sorry. Yeah, it's done. So sorry about that. It's not perfect one, and I know. So perfectionism leads to maladaptive thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. So yeah, I'm a mental health coach, and I'm always talking about the way our brain plays tricks with us, the way our brain are the way our thoughts, feelings, and behavior becomes self-sabotaging. And one of these self-sabotage is the perfectionism trait. And if I have to talk about a little bit more about the, give you a little bit example about the maladaptive thoughts, feelings, and behavior, is, for example, the thought that I have to be like my peers, like my neighbor. Very bad. You're comparing. You think that their life is perfect just because they're driving a BMW, just because they have a big house, etc. Just because they have kids, they are married with their bachpan ka pyar. So their life is perfect. That's not true. You don't know the real story. You don't know what's behind the curtain. So stop comparing. Stop putting unrealistic demands standard on yourself. I always take it like this. I have like I call this a barometer. I don't know why. It's like, or a thermometer. When is it getting too much? For example, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do etc. etc. But yeah, it's okay to have standard, but when it's too much, when I'm trying hard and I'm not getting there, and all of a sudden it's like an obsession dans la tête that I need to get everything perfect. I would have never been able to do this webinar today, because if I had this mentality, I had patients in the morning, I had talks yesterday, have to prepare another talk for tomorrow, and I have this one. I'm prone to make mistakes. I'm human, right? I'm human. I make mistakes. Sometimes I'm hungry and I eat once S, and that's normal. That's perfect because I'm human. But if I had a maladaptive thought, it would be, oh my God, what would people say about me? They will think that a mental health coach don't know how to write perfectionism. Oh, I feel so bad. What I feel like anxious because people will judge me. And my behavior will be like this. I withdraw myself and I don't open up to challenges. I don't open up to opportunities. So these are examples of maladaptive thoughts, maladaptive feeling, and behavior. So the next one is the consequence on our mental health. As you know, I'm a mental health coach, so I talk about the consequence on your psyche, on your mental health. So perfectionism, fear of failure will lead to poor self-esteem. When you have poor self-esteem, you don't feel good in your own skin, right? You need to feel good in your skin. You need to feel happy to be whoever you are. I'm happy to be Nabiilah, and if I can influence you today, is I challenge you all to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I love myself and I love the journey that I am in today. I'm proud of my success and I'll embrace my failures, because that's not failures, that's preparation. The second one is it leads to negative personality traits development. What's that? Is a lot of people who have fear of failure, they start becoming very narcissistic. They start becoming very negative. When we say narcissistic is very bad, because you will be emitting negative vibes. You will be pushing people away. You'll be hurting people. Why? Because maybe you will not be doing this consciously, but unconsciously you will cause harm to people. So you see how a perfectionism coming to fear of failure can lead to a negative personality trait development. So better be safe than sorry. Protect yourself. It leads to depression. You know, depression is the new pandemic. Why? Because we are putting a lot of pressure. COVID is here. We can't launch our business. Everyone is suffering. Coaches are suffering. Everyone actually are suffering. There's not one person not suffering. Even the ex-prime minister is suffering. So in his own way. So we are all affected in some way. And if we take this as failure, then yes, what will happen? We will go through there will be a disbalance in our chemicals in our brain, and we'll start developing depression. We'll start being depressed, and you'll find yourself sitting at my couch and really talking to me about what's hurting and crying out. So you see, depression doesn't come like one day you wake up and all that happens is you feel depressed. No, it's a process. It starts with small things. And what I said before, you better be safe than sorry. This is why I do these webinars, to actually explain to you that these aspects can lead to depression, can lead to anxiety, can lead to eating disorder. If you have the chance, if you are very careful about your health, you will pay attention to these things and you try to make changes. I'm sure that you have been witnessing the suicide case, unfortunately, of students after their HSC results. It's very sad to see these consequences. But if we ask ourselves the question, why is this happening in our society? It's not one case. Instead of saying that maybe the kid is a weak one, etc., ask ourselves the question, we as a person in a society, it's we who makes a society, right? Me, Ismael, everyone else in this webinar today, and also in your neighborhood in this Mauritius, we contribute to make a society. And it's our mentality that sometimes is faulty, that sometimes is problematic. We are going to clap our hands for a student who got 6, how do you say that, 6 unité in HSE. Okay, very good, we are all happy. But that kid who have been working really, really hard to get that 40 mark, we don't give that person credit. But you know, sometimes for me, the real hero is who? That kid who has been working really, really hard despite having dyslexia, having a poor environment, not having the appropriate finance to get to that tuition, but still managing to get that 40 mark. For me, he's a hero, she's a hero. So it's just a mindset. It's just a change in our frames, in our system of thinking. And all of a sudden you see that there is no difference. Hard work is hard work, irrespective of the mark. If we as parents, I have got a question, how would you advise a teacher or a parent in this situation? I would advise to acknowledge every hard work. It's not about the end result sometimes. Most of the time for me, I have been studying for my for schooling, for university certification, and now for my postgrad, other kind of studies, which is more advanced. For me, it's not about the mark that I get. For me, it's about the amount of hard work that I'm putting in. I'm sitting here and I'm revising, I'm working hard. For me, this is my success. What comes else is just maybe a representation. Maybe it will represent, maybe not. That's not in my control. So I do my best. The moment you have this mindset, what happened to the fear of failure? It just dissolves. It just diffuses, as I say in my session. So I hope that this answers your question, and I continue our presentation. Anxiety, this is something that with COVID-19, I have been working with a lot of patients, with a lot of clients having anxiety. It's the new problem. Everyone is saying, oh, I'm negative. Thank God I don't have COVID. But you have anxiety, dude. What will you do with that? It can be more dangerous than COVID. Depression can be very dangerous. It affects all the domain in your life. So protect your mental health by doing these changes that are doable, these changes that is actually within your control to change. And then it leads to maladaptive cognition, which is rumination and overthinking. I did a webinar on overthinking last month, maybe. And I've really talked about how to overcome, how to diffuse, how to overcome overthinking. So these are the consequences. If you really want to do some changes, really go back and ask yourself, what is the frame that you're giving to hard work, to perfectionism, to procrastination, and to fear of failure? Now, if you already find yourself in these categories, it's not the end of the world. If people have poor self-esteem, negative personality trait, depression, suicidal thought, anxiety, eating disorder, overthinking. It's not the end of the world. Help exists. Actually, you can do a lot of changes within your habit. It's like the diet for your mental health. That will help you actually get better. So let's talk about it. How to protect yourself, not be like this very beautiful lady, be a little bit different. So introspection is when you ask yourself about what's your goal, what's your aspiration, what's your belief regarding success and failure. This is exactly what I've been talking about regarding to results. Do we have to undergo a change in mindset in Mauritius? Yes. I hope that your answer is yes. Yes, we have to, because we have evolved. We have technologies. Today we are talking about 5Gs, etc., etc. But our mindset's still stuck in the 90s. So we need to have a refreshing mindset about success, about failure, about goals, about aspiration, about growth. And this is why we as coaches, we are here to help you to help you find some answers within yourself. Now, when I say goals, don't put blinkers and all you see is your goal. And I don't see anything. I don't have time to date. I don't have time to eat. I don't have time for spirituality. Bachpan ka pyar, let it at the back. I don't have time to even look at it. No, that's not true. You need to have a balance, as Ismael said. So have your goals, but enjoy your journey. Okay? So the next point is work with your troubling emotion and the meaning you attribute to failure. A lot of time when someone will fail, they will have the tendency to they won't actually take it positively. I will share one thing with you. I know that we are overlapping a little bit, but if you are interested, you'll stay and you'll have your dinner while watching us. I've started to play tennis. And my coach, my tennis coach, pointed out something really interesting. He said to me, Nabiilah, every time you miss the goal, you are happy, you smile, and you keep on playing. And I was like, what? He said, yes, compared to other players, whenever they miss the goal, they start becoming really frustrated and they can't learn anything else, anything more. And I was having a conversation about, but what is the meaning that I'm attributing to my failure in this context, missing my ball? For me is, actually I'm learning. Actually, I'm here to have fun. Actually, I'm here to enjoy myself. And what happens if I miss one ball? I have 10 more balls coming to me and I'll work hard to at least get 2 or 3 this time. So you see, it's all in the mindset. And when I said that to myself, what happened? I don't feel sad or I don't feel negative about my day at the tennis court. So it has all to do with the meaning you attribute to your failure. The third point is to develop cognitive flexibility. What is cognitive flexibility? Long ago, we used to say, l'esprit de bois, tout ça, l'esprit, this kind of thing. And this is the opposite of cognitive flexibility. When you have a mindset that is so rigid, no one can actually say anything else to you. It's rigid, right? That is not being cognitively flexible. Instead, cognitive flexibility is when, oops, I'm sorry. Yes, cognitive flexibility is when you can accept, you can let go, you can accept, let go is kind of easy. I've talked about it in the past. The third point, think about yourself in the context. Right now, I'm doing my postgrad diploma, my MSc, anything. I'm doing this. This is what matters. Right now, I'm preparing to build my house. Very good. This is your context right now. So focus on this one. Right now, I'm interested to go and propose Bachpan ka Pyar. So this is your context. So focus, self in context is really seeing yourself in the context that you are right now, rather than just focusing on what's coming up of the future. So self as context. There is much more in cognitive flexibility, which can take me a lot of time to explain. But maybe my next webinar will be more around cognitive flexibility with other things, sorry. And the fourth one is, if you can't help yourself, then seek professional help. It's perfectly okay to seek professional help because we don't need people as coaches. We are here just to talk. We don't give medication a lot of time. We don't give medication, actually. We are here to help you develop cognitive flexibility. We are here to help you to deal with your troubling emotions. We are here to help you give meanings, new meanings to your success, to your failures, help you find your goals, your balance, etc. So we are here to make you the best version of yourself. Now, the thing is on you. The decision is on you, whether you want to or not. Right? So what type of professional help that is available? In my practice, actually, I think that Ismael will be talking about his shortly. So what type of professional help that I give is I give individual coaching sessions to help you identify your perfectionism style and faulty cognitive mechanism, that is your maladaptive thoughts, etc., if you have, and what is preventing you from being productive, etc., etc. I provide group coaching for companies, organizations to help them identify team maladaptive mechanism and disempowerment among employees. There are workshops that I very regularly organize to help people identify faulty mechanism, cognitive mechanism, and develop cognitive flexibility. So these are the kind of help that exists that a lot of coaches are investing time, energy to actually come up with. So take these help and be the best version of yourself, because this is what we are born to do, actually. And this is it for me. I'm going to stop sharing and we are going to come back in our main. So now I'm really happy to ask you your question, to answer your questions, and to interact a little bit with you. We are going to take your questions on the group. Me and Ismael will be taking the questions, and that's part of my presentation. I hope that you've enjoyed, and I will be asking Ismael, my guest speaker today. So what is your thought? What is that one thing that maybe you've learned from me today?
I learned a bit. I've noted a few. So the barometer, important for us to measure because we can't control what we can't measure. So the way you have the barometer was, I've noted it down. So depression is a new pandemic, and I think it has going to be much more longer. It's going to span much more longer than the current pandemic, hopefully. Oh, not hopefully. Hopefully, every one of these pandemic are going to stop at one point in time. Effort is more important than the result. So in terms of when someone is studying, so forget about the result. As I told you earlier on, and as you mentioned, we do what is within our control. There are things which is outside of our control. So we can't control what is outside of our control. So why stress for things which are outside of our control? Let's focus on what we can control. So reward the effort by the student, by your kids and so on, much more important. And the meaning you attribute to failure. I love this one. I've noted is a meaning you attribute to failure. Very, very interesting. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ismael. It's really about, also I will share about our experiences, because I'm sure that you can agree with me. We have failed. I have also failed in many of, in my journey. The journey of success. Today, you might see a lot of ABCDs of our names, but there is a lot of failure. There is a lot of downfall, but this is part of our journey. I'm really happy to have collaborated with you on this. I want to hear from you because we have quite a bit of participants still online today. So let's take your questions and really try to help out. So send your questions, send your highlights. What is the one thing maybe you've been staying quiet? So if I can ask everyone to put that one thing that they've learned, that they are going to take home, that have really add value to their life today. That one thing, come on guys, share your takeaway, share your highlight, both from what I've presented and from what Ismael has presented. Ali, come on, don't be shy. If you don't, I'll be calling names because I can see your names. The journey is more important than the rest destination. Thank you, Said. To extract the best and leave the rest. Thank you. Oh, some people are really interested with your principle. Failure is part of success. Failure is not the final. So what is happening here when you're sharing, you are also, we have created like a small community here. People can learn, maybe they've missed something. So quickly guys, your questions, your sharing. Ali, come on. Fatima, you have to put something for me. Do you have questions? Actually, Ismael, we have a question about, let's say company, the boss. I'm reading it out, it's a paragraph, and then I'll be answering the question. Let's say the company is not the boss and the downside for his project. So the question is, it's like a case scenario. So let's work with this, Ismael. So we have someone working in a company who is really hardworking, a hard worker. And it happened that the boss gives all the project to one particular employee and not the hardworking one. And then that person who got that project obviously got the credit, and the hardworking person doesn't get any credit. And at the end, the employee ends up becoming really frustrated and depressed. So how do we apply our principle of fear of failure, perfectionism? Let's think about it.
Depends, like if maybe I'm just maybe it's part of the information which is being shared. So is it affecting you that this person is having the best project and so on, or you're being given, let's see what's in our plate. You're being given some jobs out, maybe it's not the best project, but you're being given a few things to do as well. Why not try to give your best onto that what you have on your plate? Okay, show, demonstrate that you have the ability to do much better. You can do not a perfect, but you can do a very good job. This is within your ambit. This is within your reach. So whatever you can do your best. Now, if it is up to the manager and so on to allocate works and so on, forget about it. Okay, do things like bother about things that you have control on. So you are being given a few work, maybe not the best project, not the bigger projects and so on, but show that you have the ability to do your own work much better, and maybe improve in what you are doing. And if possible, if you think that there can be some reasons that you are not aware, why not ask for maybe 360 feedback with your boss, with your colleagues and so on? Are there things that I can do to improve so that I can be entrusted such project? You can ask the question, okay, frankly, politely, and just ask your best. Are there things that I need to improve on so that maybe in the future I'm being given maybe much important projects and so on? This is how I would have maybe approach a situation. But as a coach, you will be asking much more questions to this individual to try to see what is underneath, what is lying underneath to get the real crux of the matter.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ismael. And I would add on by saying what I've just shared. A lot of time we think that what matters is the end result, the credit, the recognition, maybe the promotion. Yes, to some extent, we all want it. I can't say you not to want it or not to focus on that. But in that process, in that really focus on only focusing on our goals and the outcome, what we forget is our actual capacity to work hard and to appreciate the things that we're doing. I will share one thing very openly. I'm in Mauritius, and a lot of people don't understand the concept of mental health. And a lot of time, my ideas get rejected by a few companies, etc. But that doesn't mean that maybe yes, I need to keep on improving. Yes, but that doesn't mean that mental health, the concept in itself, is faulty. Sometimes it's not in our control. Sometimes we just have to prove ourselves otherwise, in other ways, to show them that, yes, if you haven't selected me, it's your loss. And you will find it out soon. So thank you for the sharing. We don't have any questions, which is, no, we have one.
Question, yeah.
Any tips to help with procrastination? That is to keep moving on, although not seeing the immediate result. Do you want to go first or do I go first?
Actually, I have a story. I have a story of the bamboo story. Okay, so Tanvir, thank you for this question. It's giving me the opportunity and others to hear the bamboo story. Actually, if you plant a bamboo tree, okay, you plant a bamboo tree, you get the best soil, you water it, you put the fertilizers and so on. At the end of year one, there's no sprout. You won't see anything growing. And you repeat it. Next second year, you water it, you put the best fertilizers, you take very good care of it, nothing is going to happen. No sprout, no leaf is going to crop up. You're free. Still, you give the best out of whatever you have, nothing is going to happen. Year four is the same. At the end of year five, then you're going to see the bamboo tree is going to grow up. And within 6 weeks, it's going to reach, I think, around maybe 16 to 20 meters in height. Within 6 weeks, it's going to reach around 20 meters in height. So what has happened over the years? You have been taking good care and so on. Nothing has happened. So this is what we say, okay, we don't see immediate results. We need to continue because we have an idea. We know what's happening behind. The roots are going in. And now the bamboo tree, try to uproot it after 5 years, 6 years, you will see. It's never easy to uproot a bamboo tree because what you have learned, what you have been practicing, the best thing that you have been doing, it's like solidify into the earth. And it is not like you're doing a few things and so on. No, but it is like concrete thing that you have done over the years and then that's it. I think this is the best way, I think, for my way of maybe representing such an answer. For if you're trying to do things and you're not seeing the immediate results, if you know it is the correct things to do it until it's going to sprout, and then you won't be able to stop it, believe me.
Wonderful. And I love this. I was just looking at my bamboo tree and see how many roots do I have.
No, this
but
is
thank you.
a lucky bamboo. I'm talking about the Chinese bamboos.
Oh, the true one. Oh, wonderful. So thank you for this. And you have beautifully answered the second part. And I would answer the first part saying, any tips to help with procrastination? So some concrete tips that I'm going to give because I'm always studying or preparing for things. So for me, it's the 5 minutes or 10 minutes drill or hard work. It's pushing yourself. Actually, what I've noticed is it's not that you want to procrastination is like that comfort zone that you are on your bed, you don't want to get help. So if you push yourself, research has proved, if you push yourself for 5 to 10 minutes, like force yourself to do it, and then say, si pas capable après 10 minutes, I'll see what I can do. But force yourself for 10 minutes and you see that actually you get the momentum. You see that actually you'll end up doing 1 hour of work. So that's the 5 to 10 minutes push. So try it and share with us how it's going. So we have another question. No, it's the cheese example. So we don't have any further questions. So can we have an emoji to show us your expression? One emoji and then we'll wrap up. Only one emoji and then. So here we have. The others are sleeping. So thank you very much. Any last word, Ismael? And I would like to thank you for joining me today on this presentation. I know it's late, your kids might be waiting for you, but thank you very much.
It was my pleasure. I'm so happy to be seeing people around, and these people are still interested in what we are saying. And I think it was a very good session in terms of I presented maybe the hard part of it, but you gave us a tough part, the dessert part. Okay. Cherry on the cake and so on. It's two approaches that we do in coaching. It was like a very good mix. Thank you for that. Thank you for this invitation. It's my pleasure.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And I know that you've been talking the most, and I've been relaxing and listening. But next time we are going to have the 7th edition of Let's Talk About Mental Health. And I'm really working hard to get a new guest, maybe from another field, not into coaching, from another field, to collaborate with me on that. So stay tuned, and very quickly you can send me, if you haven't sent me your email address, send it to me. We are going to add this in a database so that we can send you the invites, etc. So quick, you can. And if we don't have a question, Ismael, thank you once again. And if you guys want my contact detail, I'm gonna put it here. So that's my contact detail and my mail address, which you can definitely get in touch with me. So thank you very much. And then that's a wrap for this edition. Now, if you don't want to go, we can stay and keep on chatting.